Today I'm reviewing the 8-inch variable speed grinder from Bucktool. It features a 1 horsepower motor, a variable speed, and a number of convenience features that really make it a standout for wood turners. It comes with 2 aluminum oxide wheels, 80 grit and 120 grit. I'm going to be replacing one of the wheels with a Bucktool 180 Grit CBN wheel to really make it a convenient wood turning sharpening station. Here are the headline specs. It's an 8-inch wheel machine with a 1 horsepower motor. It's a variable speed, runs from 900 RPM to 3600 RPM. The base is heavy cast iron built for minimal vibration and stability, gouges and major bevel resets. Also worth noting, the Bucktool brand series covers lower speed and lower price models as well, such as this 3/4 horsepower low speed grinder aimed at tool sharpening. The 1 horse motor gives this grinder plenty of torque and runs impressively smooth. Let me show you as I turn it on. It's going to start up at 900 almost instantaneously. Now I'm going to switch it to 3600 by pushing the preset button. It only takes just a few seconds. You can see how it's running amazingly smooth. For wood turner sharpening gouges, scrapers, and specialty tools, this smoothness really makes a difference. The variable speed range gives you everything from slow down to 900 all the way up to 3600 with a dial control. Although I find it easier just to program it, or just use the preset settings of 900. Or 3600. And you can preset one speed, which I've programmed to the typical sharpening speed of 1740, typical of a low-speed grinder. So I can just turn it on, push the program button, and it automatically jumps to the speed of a low-speed grinder. One of the features that I really appreciate is this built-in 3-watt LED work light with a flex shaft. It puts the light right where you need it so you can see the edge of the tool. It doesn't replace good overhead shop lighting, but it's very handy so you can see exactly what kind of grind bevel you're getting. One of the standout features I mentioned is this variable speed, that you can go from 900 for tasks such as bench chisels, where you've run a risk of overheating them and bluing them. So that makes it very convenient. It's also got this little magnifier, makes it a little easier to see. That's also a nice feature on very small tools like this 1/4 inch Doug Thompson detail gouge, where you don't want to remove much metal, and sometimes the lower speed allows you for even better control than the typical programmed one that I've got, 1740, which is typical of a medium or of a low-speed grinder. And you can program it at any speed by just turning to the speed you want, hold down the program button for about 3 seconds, and it's programmed. And of course, you got 3600 at the touch of a button for really heavy removal of on projects. If you're having to regrind or you're making a tool and you really want to remove metal. Incidentally, Doug Thompson, who manufactures tools, he sharpens all the tools that he makes at on a 3600 high-speed grinder. I'll have to say though, 3600 is faster than I want to sharpen most of my wood turning tools. I will have to say though that 3600 speed, if you're making tools and you have to do a lot of grinding, like on this bar of 30mm high-speed steel, it will flat remove the steel.
This thing's a beast, coming in at a weight of 57 plus pounds.
The grinder comes with 2 wheels, an 80 grit and a 120 grit aluminum oxide. And there's nothing wrong with aluminum oxide. That's what most of us started out with and used for many years. And they work. But the ones that come with this grinder run very true, as I showed earlier, with no wobble or vibration. But over a period of time, they can get embedded You've got to dress them periodically with a diamond dresser to true them up and get rid of any embedded materials. Generally speaking, aluminum oxide is never going to run as true as a CBN wheel because they're cast when they're made, and that mold, there's sometimes minor weight distributions that can cause some vibration or wobble. And there is a small risk of them exploding, which is why you always have a cover on stone wheels and a protective screen in case one should. That's why you always wear face protection, of course, and eye protection when you're using a grinder regardless. But CBN wheels never change shape like an aluminum oxide wheel. It'll continually get smaller. If you're using jigs, sharpening jigs with a stone wheel, then you've got to reconfigure them from time to time as the wheel changes shape. So as I mentioned, I'll be replacing the 120 grit with a 180 CBN wheel. If you're only going to get one CBN wheel, I'd recommend a 180 grit, possibly a 220. Some wood turners prefer 350 or 600. I've got a 600 grit wheel. I don't use it too often. The 180 grit does 90% of my wood turning tool sharpening. I may keep the 80 grit wheel for softer metals that might clog and damage a CBN wheel. CBN wheels aren't essential, but let me tell you, they will put a smile on your face. So other advantages of the CBN wheel is they're dynamically balanced and they run true, and that helps keep the grinder and the wheels from bouncing and vibrating. The CBN also acts as a heat sink, and it draws up to 40% of the heat that generated from sharpening the tool away from the tool into the wheel itself, whereas an aluminum oxide wheel only draws in about 10%. So it keeps the tools running a little bit cooler when you're sharpening. CBN cuts faster. As I mentioned before, it never needs dressing. Occasionally you might have to clean the wheel, but you don't use the tool for that. You soak it in or clean it with PBS plaster or something. And CBN wheels will probably last a lifetime. I've had two CBN wheels for 12, 13 years, and they're just as good now as they were when I got them. The Bucktool CBN wheel is priced well, and so getting one can turn this grinder into a really effective wood turning tool sharpening station. My 1/2 horsepower Rikon takes maybe 7 seconds to speed up. If I'm going to 900, it's virtually instantaneous. It's at 900. If I want to go to 1700, my programmable speed, 1002, 1000. It took less than 2 seconds to go to the low speed grinder setting, and it'll take a couple more seconds to get up 3600 from that mid speed. Less than 3 seconds. Now for a wood turner, it's almost imperative to get a sharpening jig system similar to this Wolverine. I've used this one ever since I started wood turning, this type of system. I've got a new one for this setup. This is a very nice jig system that allows you to easily replicate quickly and easily the sharpening on your turning tools. It's got a platform, it's got a long arm, and it just works great. There are a number of knockoffs. This is one of the older ones, been around a long time. The knockoffs are cheaper. You get what you pay for. I wouldn't look at the price of the knockoffs. Just get you a better quality one like the Wolverine. You'll never regret it. The Bucktool 8-inch variable speed grinder is a really strong contender, I think, strong performer, especially for the price. The 1 horsepower motor, the flexible light, the variable speed, the ability to go from 900 all the way to 3600. It's just some standout features that make it versatile for both sharpening and heavy grinding. You pair it with a 180 grit Bucktool CBN wheel, and you've really got an excellent sharpening system for wood turning. Smooth, powerful, and consistent. I'm going to have a future video on installing this on a board, installing the wheel, and installing the bear grind system for it. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned for that. For those of y'all that already into wood turning and you upgraded from an aluminum oxide to CBN wheel, I appreciate your comments. Anybody that's moved from a half horsepower grinder to a horsepower grinder, I appreciate your comments. Leave them in the comments below. And remember, y'all stay safe. Come on back, you hear?